What's good, everybody? It's Compass here, coming back at you with another pick'em. We're coming at you with Week 8 pick'ems, last week of the season. Huge weeks in terms of standings and everything. Huge week in terms of who can secure that first seed, who can secure their place in the playoffs. We're going to talk about all of that here. If you like Power Pros content, make sure to like and subscribe on the video. Also, make sure to check down in the description for the Discord and find out where all these games are taking place, and my Twitch where my own games are taking place, the Space City Comments. I'm going to be playing tonight. I can't recall the time off the top of my head. I know it's going to be pretty late. It's going to be like 9:30 Central Time, I think. It's going to be against the North Pole No Sox. Talk a little bit about that when it comes up. I don't really have too much to say about it, but first matchup we got Dot Crew versus Smooth Jazz. Dot Crew, they still have a chance of making the playoffs, but it's looking very unlikely from what I've seen. I'm not gonna go over what all the um this, all the different situations to get in the playoffs. That's the word I was looking for. The different situations for the Dot Crew. I mean, that's just a little bit too nerdy for me. I'm not gonna look at, ooh, the Dot Crew gotta win 3 games, and then Space City has to lose 2 games, and then Lost City Monarchs get swept by the Bandits, and they lose by more than 8 runs. I'm not gonna do all that. That's just a little bit too much for me. I could just talk about what I think. I mean, Dot Crew versus Smooth Jazz. It's gonna be a tough matchup. Both of them are triple P competitors. I think the Smooth Jazz are eliminated after their week 7 matchup. Not entirely sure, but I think they are. 99%. They are losing out on Arishima with goggles for 3 games, which hurts. M. Frisk is looking pretty nice, other than Odo resting for 4 games on their side. And they got Sumera ready for game 3. My man's ready for game 2. I think that we're gonna see a 2-1 series taken by the Dot Crew. I think that Frisk is gonna try to come out and try to get the sweep and try to do everything he can to secure his spot in the playoffs. But my man's just gonna be a little bit too much. Jeff's just a little bit too hard of an opponent. Um, think he could really spoil the chances of the Dot Crew making the playoffs. And now we get to my matchup versus the North Pole No Sox. I don't really have anything to say about the North Pole No Sox. Of course, Anthony P, Sir Bacon Bits, very very good opponent. Been in Triple P for, or not Triple P, been in EPL for 3 seasons now. Stayed up there. Of course, he's tied record with me right now at 17-7, I believe. So it's a pretty even matchup. I've never recalled playing him, and I know for sure I've never played him for anything substantial. If I've ever played him, it's been a scrim, so I don't remember. So it's gonna be a new experience for me. He has a great pitching lineup that's gonna be really tough for me, but I prepared for this matchup. I don't have any rest on Daigugetsu, so he should expect Daigugetsu game 1 tonight. Of course, that game's going down tonight at my Twitch and at his Twitch and YouTube channel. If you join the Discord, you'll find out his YouTube channel and everything. But his rest, he's got Aoba ready for game 1, which is a very hard matchup for me. It's going to be pretty difficult, to be honest. Aoba versus Daigugetsu is going to be a very nice matchup. He also has Ikari ready for game 3, Suzumoto ready for game 2. Both pretty decent pitchers. Um, he also has Go ready whenever he needs to. A nice fastball pitcher, was originally on my team but now isn't. Has the Magic Ball Hoshi ready for game 3. His pitching lineup is just very good through those 5 guys. Of course, it drops off after those, but I would say those 5 guys are definitely better than. Would I say they're better than what I have? I mean, I have 4 that I am pretty happy with. I mean, I have Daigugetsu. I think that Daigugetsu beats Aoba. Not gonna lie. I prefer Daigugetsu, but Simon is he's good. He's really good. He's really good. Don't get me wrong with that special fastball, but like when he's going up against somebody like Suzumoto, Go, I mean they could really keep up with him on that end. And then Akari's a beast with that special fastball. It looks like it's coming in a lot faster, even if it's that flash of light. Game three might be a little bit scuffed for me, like game ones have been with like maybe Otome or Veri's pitching, which might go their way. Plus, however the rest goes, maybe I'll try to do something and try to preserve someone for game three, so I could also have a nice chance. It just depends all on how the series is going my end, but it's a huge game for the implications of seedings. We'll go over that when it's time to talk over you know the standings, but I think just off pitchers, I mean, I want to say that Daigugetsu. I'm gonna say that Aoba wins because I'm not too confident in my ability to hit off Aoba. I'm not sure how he's gonna hit off Daigugetsu. I could see a meatball coming down and just ruining the whole game in a low scoring game. Um, Aoba is just a super tough opponent. The last time I faced them in a no lock on setting in a league, it was against Clutch and it was in Triple P, and it took a meatball for me to walk him off. It wasn't even a regular special pitch, so it's going to be very difficult for that. The other pitchers, I think Simon wins his battle against Suzumoto. Not too much of a fan of Suzumoto, but it works for someone like Anthony P, who does not use two tap from what I've seen. But I think he takes game three in a scuffed game three. I think he takes the series overall and takes the higher seed. Next up, we got the Osaka Foxes versus the Green Revolution. I mean, Green Revolution, they don't have Myojin for this series, but I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make. Atsumori and Hoshi are sitting out until game three. Maguro is ready off the rip, and Zenzai for the Foxes. Um, but honestly, it's YG's on a mission. I mean, if I'm a betting man, I'm betting this to be a sweep just because he wants that first seed. He wants to qualify for the USA finals, or, yeah, the USA finals. Serena just came off a pretty rough series against myself, and YG, I mean, I would say he's better than myself, so I don't know how it's gonna be looking for her. If she could steal a game though, that would be tough for YG and his running for the first seed, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. And if Serena could steal a game, I would be very happy if I was her. And here we have the series of the week, one of the biggest series, a very storied rivalry from a bunch of the iPump PlayStation leagues, two PlayStation players. We have B Farrell and iPump. Both of them are good friends. It's going to be a very tough matchup. Both of them are very, very skilled at the game. Um, I would say that just without looking at it, I would say that the Bandits have just such a tough pitching lineup. Kiba is out until game three, and so is Yamino, so that might be a little bit tough for iPump. It's looking a little bit scuffed with his two top pitchers out until the very last game of the season. It's going to have to make do with people like Yakuman 2, Fukumu, Onishi, Arima. Definitely some very, very good. Yakuman 2 and Fukumu are pretty good. I wouldn't say Onishi or Arima are really good. I mean, Yakuman 1 is probably better than Arima, to be honest. I'm not too much of a fan of Arima. But it's gonna be kind of tough whenever you're going up against super stacked lineup like B Farrell's. I mean, if we're just looking at the rest, Rebukai is going to be ready off the rip. So is Allen. So is Kurama. Kaji and Suruma are out for a game. It's going to be a war. I mean, honestly, it's going to be such a tough series for iPump, but I feel like he's going to have a fire lit under him. He's definitely not going to want to drop out of playoffs. It's looking very not I wouldn't say very likely, but it's looking kind of likely that he drops out of playoffs. I would say probably. I'm not going to give it a chance. I would bet on him making the playoffs more than that, but it's a real chance that we see a playoffs without Pump, which is pretty crazy. I don't think that anyone would have possibly guessed that. But it's just going to be really hard until Kiba gets back. I have the Bandits taking the series in a 2-1 series split. I think that Kiba and Yamino are going to come back and take game 3. But it's just going to be very hard with Ribukai coming in. I mean, you got to remember pitching rest is not transferring over, so I am assuming that Ribukai is going to get a lot of time in this game 1 or game 2, whatever the mood's looking like, and Allen's going to pitch like the whole game on whatever game he pitches. It's just going to be a very, very difficult series for iPump to win. Very unlucky to face him at the end of the season. But yeah, that's the series of the week. I can't wait for that to go down. That's going to be very, very good. Next up, we got the Chicago Curve versus the Bay Area Rockets. Two teams that are eliminated from playoff running, but still going to be a pretty interesting matchups. Two former Triple P opponents from last season. Not sure how their series went, but both of them are pretty skilled competitors. Definitely better than what their records show. We're looking at John's rest. He has Hinoa out for 2 games, Yamaguchi out for 1. But other than that, the rest is looking pretty good. I wouldn't be I wouldn't say he's at disadvantage. He's still got Amagi and Alex and Kakuto ready for game 0 or game 1. I don't know why I said game 0. I was looking at 0 games rest, but if we're looking at Clutch's rest, he pretty much has no rest at all. Like, all these dudes are ready to go. He has Horse Run, Pseudo Junketsu. I think it's going to be a very good series. I think that Clutch takes game 1, but I think that John comes out, wins the last 2 games of the series, finishes out the season strong, even if he's not making the playoffs. But really, this is just a pride thing. This is like showing the EPL admins where you can really play, just boosting up that record. I think this is a very, very even matchup, and I could see it going either way. It's going to be a very good matchup. All right, next up, we got the Hampton County Tabby Cats versus the Wild Jokers. Haha Healy versus Matt. This is like an OG Triple P Season 1 matchup right here. And don't know what... This was like a year ago. Who knows what that series went like back then, but... both of them are out the playoff standings. Wild Jokers did have a very nice series against the Flickin' Squibs last series. Showed out a lot. Really knocking that rest off, I think. I didn't really get to pay too much attention. I was kind of tuning in and out. I was having to take care of something else, so can't lie, can't say everything that happened about that game, but looking at Matt's pitchers, I mean, of course we know Matt's pitching is not great from the just on paper, but his staff is just not great, I should say. But Ninjatani, his best pitcher, is out for until game 3. One's gonna be ready, which I mean One's pretty good, but Shindo and Narumi are out for one game, and those are like two staples in his lineup too. I mean, he's left with Shirano, Rakugaki, and Asnabul. I mean, it's just really tough for him. I mean, just not really a good lineup on paper. I can't say how many runs he's allowed, but I would probably think that that number would reflect what his pitching staff is. I mean, Ninjitani is his best pitcher. That's like very But going to Haha Healy's side, Unkai not even pitching the last series. Very tough. Graviton Arai not ready until game 3. Has pretty much everyone else except Tachibana ready for game 2. Shinogi, Tamura all gonna start in game 1. Oda. Um Man, I don't know. It's gonna be tough for both of them. I mean, they're both also playing for pride at this point. I mean, neither one of them have a chance to do anything, but I think that I'm going to take the Jokers in a series split. Don't I could see it going anyway, but I think Matt's been knocking off the rust. It's just been a little bit too late, honestly, knocking off the rust, but he's doing it. He might finish off the season strong. Next off, we got Flickin' Squibs versus White Comets. This is a series that actually does matter for the White Comets making it in. Flickin' Squibs, I believe, are eliminated from the playoff race, but they might come out trying to upset the White Comets' playoff chances. I don't know exactly what the White Comets would need to do to get in the playoffs. They are the closest to beating out iPump. I think iPump has to do something like lose to, they win to, whatever, they sweep the series. I'm sure the White Comets are going to do everything in their power. Big Sid's going to come out and try super hard to get that sweep or that win on the series. He's going to have a fire lit underneath him. It's going to be interesting to see if X Long, if he's going to have the fire underneath him to try to upset the series and try to knock the White Comets out and control what the playoffs look like, but I don't know. I could see it going either way. Yakumask not ready until game 2. Hakudo not ready until game 3. He's got the good Hakudo. Ribu and Bucho both ready for game 1. So X Long's rest is really not looking terrible. I mean, it's not looking bad at all. He's definitely got his pitching rotation planned out. He's definitely got his players ready. But if we go to Big Sid, he does have Doe ready for game 1. Doe's a huge pitcher. Also Kagurazaka ready for game 1. Could pitch in game 2. It all depends on moods. Could also relieve. Suzuki or Suzakaze. My bad. Suzakaze, special pitcher, throws that little rose. Hope Suzakaze. Super good pitcher. Gonna be out until game 3, but once she comes back, or actually, I think it's a he. Not gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie. I do not know off the top of my head, but when they come back, they are just gonna they're gonna put in work in game 3. I think it's gonna be very tough series for the Flickin' Squibs. Um, Honestly, I have the series being a sweep. I think the White Comets are gonna come out with the fire underneath them. They have the pitching talent. They have their rest. Pretty planned out. Game 2 was the real kind of iffy game with Kagurazaka probably starting. I mean, it could be game 1. It all depends on the moods, really, but it's gonna be really hard to beat that pitching rotation. When you're talking about Kagurazaka being the iffy pitcher, you're in a pretty good spot. But Yakumask is also a very good pitcher, so don't want to count that out. don't want to say that Flick and Squibs don't have a good pitching staff, but I do think that the white comments are better. They I think that Doughway's gonna outperform both Reboot and Bucho. It's just gonna be a tough series. Moving on, we got another OG matchup. I mean, I shouldn't say this is an OG matchup because they faced off last season too in EPL. I mean, this is a rematch of season one Triple P championship in which the Soda Beer Sunrise took. Um, really, I don't know if they consider this a rivalry. I'm considering this a rivalry. They faced 2 seasons back to back with the championship in there, so I'm considering this a rivalry. This is going to be a good matchup. I'm sure that both of them are going to be very, very much fighting for their spot in the playoffs. I mean, Soda Beer hasn't secured their playoff spot, but it's looking pretty likely that they do, unless that the Crowhoppers sweep them, I think, which, I mean, haven't looked at the rest yet, but I think that it's totally possible. I mean, if the Crowhoppers come out with a big enough fire and they really want to boost up their spot in the rankings and boost up to the upper half of the seeding, probably like a 4 or third seed, I think that they could come out swinging, try to knock out the Soda Beer Sunrise. Of course, if they think it's a rivalry, they're both gonna come out with fire. I'm gonna say it's a rivalry. I don't know how many times I said that it's a rivalry, but Red's gonna be out for the entire series. So is DJB. He's got Papio and Taramoto, Inuki all with no games rest. Alvin out until game 2. Kinda tough from Penguin Pouch's perspective. I mean, he's definitely got some talent left. I mean, it's not completely dry for him. Um, but Red being out 3 games, I mean, DJB is not too great. I think he was putting in work with them though, but DJB isn't that great, but being out for this series definitely hurts. Um, Hakuto, the worst version, out until game 2. Afro Kari out until game 3. Octavia gonna be ready for game 1. So is Izitsu. I mean, it's just gonna be a very hard matchup in general for Soda Beer. I mean, I think that they can take game 1, but I think that they're gonna lose the series. I do think that taking game 1 is gonna be enough for them to make the playoffs. Oh, I'd marked that wrong. My bad. I think that Afro Akari's gonna definitely take game 3. I think that that's the surefire game. I think that if Soda Beer wins the series, I think that they're gonna take game 2 over game 3. But yeah, I could see this series really going anyway. I could see a sweep going anyway too. I could see it split anyway. It could really go anyway because both of these guys are super super talented players as we've seen throughout the series. Not gonna lie, I think it's pretty surprising that Penguin hasn't secured his spot just like iPump. If I were to guess, I would think that Penguin and Scales would probably be switched at this point, even though it's only a one win difference. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but yeah, I mean the Crowhoppers, they've really been showing out this season. They're hungry. Last up, we got the North Shore Hanu versus the Purple Hurricanes. Gonna be a tough matchup for Slimefall and the Purple Hurricanes. And the North Shore Hanu, this matchup means a whole lot to the North Shore Hanu. They can win the series, which I think there's a good possibility they can. I think I'm not sure if a series win. I think I think they got a sweep to really secure, but a series win would put them in a good spot. Slimefall is really gonna be working here, working really hard. I mean, he's not out the playoffs yet, but facing someone like Zumi in the last week fighting for that 1 seed is just such a hard matchup. Very tough pull for Slimefall. Fukumizu not ready until game 2. Hisakata and Tachikawa not ready until game 3. It's going to be very hard for him. If we go over to Zumi, Asa's not ready until game 3, but he still got Karuba and Kurasama, Hagane, all ready for games 1 and 2. It's going to be very tough for Slimefall. Honestly, I have this series coming out to be a sweep. I think that Zumi's just going to have that fire underneath him. Um, it's going to be super hard for the Purple Hurricanes to squeeze out a win. If they could squeeze out a win, that would be huge for the standings and what we could possibly see throughout the week. Because I do think that there's a very high likelihood of Green Revolution sweeping. So I think there's a lot of pressure on North Shore, Hanu, and Zumi to perform this week. So if Slime could even take the series, it's gonna be kind of huge. But yeah, those are my pick'ems for that week. Let's move on to talking about the standings. Of course, you see all these people have secured their spot in the playoffs, including me. I'm gonna be fighting for my spot against Sir Bacon Bits. Gonna be a huge series, as I said before, but Zumi's holding on to that first seed for dear life. If you go back to them first week pick'ems and stuff like that, talking about it, we really thought that Zumi had all of this locked up, but B Farrell, YG both right on their tail. If either one of them can do something, they can really overtake Zumi. I mean, Zumi, he does have him beat pretty badly on run differential. It's gonna be pretty hard to beat him on run differential, so they're kind of just hoping he loses the series, I think. Unless they just go off. I don't think that B Farrell could possibly win on run differential. I think that he's gonna have to hope that Zumi just loses the series outright and he can sweep or something like that. And just overtake him like that. Think that YG facing Serena, not gonna lie, no disrespect to Serena, but think he kind of has the chance to put up a good run differential. I mean, not going to do the math. I mean, I'm not good at math, but this looks like a little under 20 to go. He could definitely do that. Mercy rule her every single game. I mean, YG is just a beast like that. I could see it happening. I think I Mercy ruled Serena 2 games. If I can Mercy rule Serena 2 games, I think that YG can Mercy rule Serena 3 games. So it's definitely gonna be tough. I think YG's gonna be fired up. Serena, I mean, I think that it's possible that she can really upset YG's hopes, but it's gonna be super hard. I mean, we all know what happens when YG really turns it up. He's a true beast, but of course me and Sir Bacon Bits fighting for our seating. MC Scales, he made it in. So he secured his spot. I think that Penguin is pretty much secured too. It's going to be pretty hard for him to lose out on it. It's going to have to take the MC Scale sweep, I think. But he's still 2 games over Big Sid. I think that's going to take a really bad situation for him to not make the playoffs. But I mean, Big Sid, he's got someone that I think that he can really do work against and really have a good series. Let's look back. He's facing off against X-Long. If he comes out fired up and sweeps him, and Pump, he's facing B Farrell, who's gonna be fighting super hard to take that first seed too. So he's gonna be fired up. Both of these dudes are fighting for something, so that's gonna be a very tough matchup. I could definitely see Big Sid and iPump switching places and Big Sid sneaking into the playoffs, and that's gonna be a huge. Would you call it an upset? I don't know. Whatever you would call it, a huge. I guess you would call it an upset because I think that everyone at the beginning of the season would have said that iPump is pretty much a lock to make the playoffs, and if he loses out, I mean, Big Sid's really gonna prove that he's a force to be reckoned with. I mean, last season he won the Double P championship. The lowest, he went from the lowest tier to making the playoffs in the highest tier, or about to make the playoffs, almost making the playoffs. If he does that, it's gonna prove a lot, and I could see him jumping up to EPL when this season ends, if that goes to 10 teams, or just staying here if USA EPL is going to continue on with 18 teams. Who knows? Who knows what season 4 is going to be like, so you can't really predict it. I mean, no one predicted this last season, so just got to ride it out, but yeah, if he makes the playoffs over iPump, I think that proves a lot about how good Big Sid is. M. Frisk and Slimefall are facing pretty dire situations. I think that Frisk can possibly sneak in. I think that he facing Jeff, if he comes in fired up and iPump loses, he loses the sweep. I think that he could possibly sneak in, but it does have to take Big Sid getting a loss by X Long, which I definitely could see happening. Both of these dudes are definitely still in the running. I would say Slimefall. I mean, it's gonna be very, very tough for him to make the playoffs, but both these guys still in the running. We'll have to see how both their series goes down, but if I were a betting man, I'd say that iPump keeps his spot. But if he were to lose his spot, I would think that it would be Big Sid over M. Frisk, just because of Jeff the Boss. I mean, slightly better opponent than X Long record wise. Both of them super skilled and could steal a game off anyone, but Jeff was competing for the playoffs for longer. It's just gonna, we'll have to see how it goes down. I could see a lot of things going down, and of course expect some shakeups in the seedings. We're super tight in the seedings. Everyone's gonna be fighting for dear life to climb up this board. Um, yeah, it's gonna be super fun. Of course, my series is gonna happen tonight. I think John's series. Let's see, John versus Clutch. I think that series. Yep, this series right here also happening tonight. Before that's gonna be like a little warm up. Um, Make sure to tune in next week. We'll have who we'll have for playoffs. We'll do a whole playoff pick 'em. We'll go through quarterfinals, semifinals, summit finals, but of course, as the rounds go on, we'll do more pick 'ems as we see how stuff folds out. But the next episode is going to be super fun. Think that's going to end off the video. Also want to say sorry that I haven't uploaded any new Icon videos. I did one Icon stream, and not gonna lie, I've been getting distracted. I've been busy with real life stuff, with all the stuff that's happened. Also been playing too much college football every single night. My friends just want to hop on that dynasty, just grind it out. And just been a pretty miserable experience. Just take L's all night. So I don't have any excuse for that. I really got to get on my grind. I think it's due like next week. So if you want to check out some Icon streams that I got to do soon, make sure to follow down at the Twitch down below in the description. Also, if you are interested in college football, make sure to check out my Space City Comets football dynasty. We're 2 episodes in. Put Space City Comets in college football 25, so that's always super fun. Um, if you like any of that content, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to look down in the description and everything. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Compass, tuning out. See ya.